Should be a schus refuah shlema for Yosef Betzalel ben Rus, as well as also Baruch Tzvi ben Rivka Basya. It's a Shem that should have a refuah shlema. So we have to pick up some ground because in about 10 minutes the Daf Yomi is going to be ahead of us, so we should really cover ground. But we're up to a very, very unique Gemara, different style Gemara that at the face of it seems to be a little bit of a Agadata, but there are some fascinating Yesodos that really come out of learning an Agadata well. And very apropos, as I wrote in the WhatsApp group, something that really is Hashkacha Pratis, that we reach Mamish at the juncture, the time of Bein HaMetzarim, which is the Zman to be Osek and being Metakin and fixing Bein Adam L'Chavero. This is definitely a relevant Gemara for the Zman. Tana Rabbanan. The bottom of Yudam Bay is the last line. Ein ma'abernes hashana ella b'mizumanim. You can't be ma'abernes hashana. That's what we started learning last week. The nature of Ibra Hashana. We learned in detail the Rambam and the Ramban how that works. And do you need a Bezdin Agadol or do you not? But now the Gemara says you need b'mizumanim. What does it mean to be mizumanim? It means to be invited. It means the Rabbanim, whether you start off with 3, 5, 7, whoever's going to be involved in the Ibra process has to be singled out. Says Rashi b'mizumanim, sheizminon hanasi mi ba'erev. That already, you can't even get invited a second before. You have to get an invitation already from that night. The Mefarshim explain that the Dayanim themselves, before they even convene, should already start thinking, is it taka, does it warrant Ibra Hashana? Does the year need it? What do you think? They should already start preparation, and that's the purpose of the Hazmana. But sounds like the Hazmana has to be, says Rashi. Not only, the Gemara never told us who does the Hazmana, which Hazmana, where Hazmana, who sent out the invitations. Maybe it's like a wedding invitation. Says Rashi, no, you need a Hazmana from the Nasi, specifically the Nasi. Why that is, we're not 100% clear. What role the Nasi is. B'r'tzeh Hashem, we'll get back to that. Ma'aseh b'Rabbi Gamliel, and there's a story to back this up. Rabbi Gamliel, who was the Nasi, Sha'amar hishkimu li shiva la'aliyah, that he says, 7 of you, 7, where's the number 7? 7 is for the Ibra Hashana, like we learned in the last Gemara, and they should go up to the attic. Hishkimu matzah shmoina. He got up there and he found 8. Omar, he said, Miu sha'ala shalai b'rishus. Yerit. Whoever came here without rishus, without my hazmana, who basically slipped through, didn't see, by the security guard in the front, and somehow, wiggled his way in, should get up and leave. Amad Shmuel HaKatan. Shmuel HaKatan got up. Va'amar ani hu sha'alisi. Shalo b'rishus. I'm the person who got up without permission. V'lo la'aber Hashana alisi, and you're right, I didn't come for Ibra Hashana, Chalila, I wouldn't have such a chutzpah that I'm a dayan, it's right. Elo lilmod halacha l'maisa utzrachti. But I needed to now learn halacha l'maisa, so I came to be meshamish talmidei chacham and to watch these great dayanim, the other 7 that are here. Amar lo, so Rabbi Gamliel said back to Shmuel HaKatan, Shev b'ni Shev. Sit. Ru'uyus kol hashanim kulin lehisaber al yodcha. Ela amru chachamim ein ma'abernes hashana ela b'mizumanim la. So Rabbi Gamliel responded, it's so fitting what you just did that all the years should be me'ubar.
Isn't that did it just to say faith for someone else?
Oh, so says the Gemara, v'loi Shmuel HaKatan haya. It wasn't Shmuel HaKatan. Ela ina shachrini. But it was rather another person. Umachmas kisufa hu da'avid. And what happened? Shmuel HaNavi Shmuel HaKatan, couldn't even bear the fact that a person's going to suffer and get embarrassed. So therefore he took the fall. He said it was him when it really wasn't him. And therefore he was ready to leave. So there are a few kashas. First of all, why doesn't Rabbi Gamliel know who the person that's not supposed to be there? He sent invitations. So the guy, I don't know, Kamsa bar Kamsa, whatever it is, whoever's not invited, walk up to him. So you want to say, no, Rabbi Gamliel also wanted to be a little sensitive. He was maybe aware, says the Maharsha. He was aware who it was, and therefore he wanted to do it in a general term, to not like mamish making a brawl over here. But I have a further question. How could Shmuel Hanavi get up, Shmuel HaKatan, I'm sorry, get up and say, it was me, I wasn't invited? And what was Shmuel HaKatan doing? He was walking out the door until Rabbi Gamliel said to him, Shev b'ni Shev, he was about to leave. I have a kasha on Shmuel HaKatan. You're going to leave, then there's going to be 6 left. It's not going to be an Ibra Shana, because Ibra Shana has to be b'mezumanim. So how could Shmuel HaKatan? Very nice. You're a tzaddik. You're very nice. I like your Ben Adam L'Chaveiro. But you're messing up the whole calendar for all of Klal Yisrael right now. And everything's going to be Shalom Kedin. So, because like Mark's pointing out, there's one guy that's not Mezumah there. So, there's different ways to approach this issue. First of all, if you look at the Rabbeinu Hananel on the side of the Gemara,
well, it can't be that it wasn't, that they wouldn't have.
That's the question. So that's what we have to answer. So says the Rabbeinu Hananel, B'muzumanim la, the top line, everyone have it on the side of the Tosos. B'muzumanim la, yeah, we're good? B'muzumanim la ma'isem Rabbi Gamliel she'amar yishkimu shiva la'aliyah, alu u'matzah shmeina. Amar Misha Allah shaloi b'rshus yerid. Amar Shmuel HaKatan ani alisi shaloi b'rshus. V'lo la'aber alisi el lamed Allah chutzrachti. So that's, he just summed up the Gemara. Perish. Kol ha-mashkimin ha-magdimin v'nechnosim ba'aliyah minu muzumanim v'ha'ola achar kach hu'a'ola shaloi b'rshus. Says Rabbeinu Hananel, we misunderstood the whole Gemara. I made it like wedding invitations. Or that the Nasi goes for a shmooze to every guy's house and says, I'd like you, I'm singling you out, you're going to be part of my team, my Ibra Hashana team. You made the cut, the 7 guys. That's not, Rabbeinu Hananel says, it's not such an exciting situation over here that they get the envelope and, you lock the door and then you open it up with your wife. Oh, we made it, we got into medical school. No, that's not what's happening over here. Says Rabbeinu Hananel, the Nasi just says, the first 7 guys upstairs are the ones that are counting for the Ibra Hashana. So according to Rabbeinu Hananel, it's very pashut. Shmuel HaKatan could have said that this guy got there first. It wasn't like, oh, I'm one of the unique guys. And then the Rabbeinu Hananel goes on further. He quotes from the Yerushalmi. Uperish b'Yerushalmi, a few lines down before, and the first word on the line is lo ratza levazoso. Shmuel HaKatan didn't want to embarrass. Uperish b'Yerushalmi, shelo ibrua ba'oso ayom, ele yifligu oso ayom b'divrei Torah v'irbiru b'yom acher. According to the Pshat in Yerushalmi, they didn't actually carry out the Ibra Hashana in that situation. So yes, Shmuel HaKatan, in order to save someone's embarrassment, was ready to get up. You know why? Because they actually didn't carry out Ibra Hashana then. And they only talked about it, and they only had a discussion about it, so it's not such a question. The Ran in the Chidushei HaRan in this Gemara says, it's a different Pshat. The Nasi didn't walk over to everyone in the house. He sent a Shliach. He sent a Shliach to invite the people. The Maharsha on this Gemara has the same exact pshat as the Ran, that it was done a hazman al yidei shliach, and he explains the Gemara beautifully. I say to you, Eitan, do me a favor, get me 7 guys. I need 7 guys. So now a shliach could say, what does that mean? You need 7 guys including you, or you need 7 guys in addition to you? So the shliach heard Rabbi Gamliel said, get me 7 guys. Do me a favor, fetch for me 7 guys. He got 7 guys. So then what happened, says the Maharsha, so all of them, in the end of the day, were mezumanim, because they were part of the original number. Rabbi Gamliel chapped, and he said, someone's here. The shliach thought I meant 7 excluding me. So it turns out Shmuel HaKatan would have been able to leave, and they still would have had a din of mezumanim. Yeah.
I'm afraid to say weak terror.
Yeah.
But it sounds like they've been doing this for many years.
Yeah.
So okay. So maybe Rabbi Gamliel
wasn't feeling well this Ibra Hashana. I hear it. Maybe that's what you mean by weak teretz, yeah? He was weak, yeah. Who's Shalom B'Rishus? No, that's what Rabbi Gamliel's saying. Rabbi Gamliel said, somebody's here, Shalom B'Rishus. Then he chapped. No, the shliach must have did. And Shmuel HaKatan chapped what happened, and therefore he was allowed to leave. You're right. It's a lot mechusar min ha-sefer, yeah. How did Shmuel Katan lie, you mean?
Why, whatever.
Shmuel Katan was Mezuman. That's what the Gemara is saying. Shmuel Katan was in the Chevra.
I'm not here to...
In order to save the other guys, that he lied basically in order to save the embarrassment of the other person.
This also suggests that, the Gemara says that you sit down with three and you say, should we do it? Then
Right,
five.
right.
Why would you invite all seven?
Oh, that's a good question. So it could be they were holding by the end already. It could be they were holding by already. We had the process with 3, we got to 5, and now we're going up to 7. Again, why do they have to go up to the attic? I imagine the 3 and 5 process didn't have to be in the attic. There was something about the 7, which is going to seal the deal of being actually a Shana Muberes, that they actually needed to do.
That's what he said, I wanted to see how to do it.
Right, exactly. That's what this is the show of the century, yeah.
The attic is no one on the outside would know the story except for the Gemara tells us. They want the secrecy here.
Ah. Soda Ibor. Soda Ibor.
Is that an Indian that they want the secrecy?
I guess so. I don't know what the
What
Indian is.
happens? They were ma'aber the shana with the.
So the Yerushalmi holds they weren't. The Yerushalmi holds it never was done. The Pashtus and the Bavli was that they were ma'aber. If you hold like the Bavli, you have to say something like the Ran with the Marsha or some other pshat. But in the Yerushalmi, it sounds like they weren't ma'aber. Okay, let's go on in the Gemara. Why was he called Shmuel HaKatan? The answer, yeah. Yeah, no, what?
So what's the distinguish from Shmuel Hanavi, Shmuel
Oh,
HaGadol?
so that's one reason. Some Rishonim say that was the reason, but also in light of the Gemara, that's exactly who he was. That's his essence. He was Makdin himself, exactly. Mamish. Yeah,
The only one can create the Birkat Minim.
right. Oh, exactly. Right. Cook has a mimer on that. Yeah. Ki hod Yosef Rabbi v'Kadarish v'areach reach shum. Listen to this story. Rebbe, this is Rebbe. This is like, if you were able to hear a shir by Rebbe, you would travel across the country to hear this. This was like the all-star, the Goyin HaGoyinim, the author of the Mishnah. Rebbe was giving shir. And somebody took out his lunch, and he had some garlic in it. And what happened? It stunk. The garlic started smelling up the whole base medrash. Amar Misha Achel Shum Yetze. Whoever's eating garlic, get out of here. Amad Rabbi Chia v'yatza. So Rabbi Chia got up and he left. Amdu Kulan. So then all the Talmidim of the shir followed Rabbi Chia and they all left. V'yatzu. B'shachar, the next morning, Matzah Reb Shimon bar Rebbe, Reb Shimon, the son of Rebbe, Rabbi Chia, he finds him in the street. He says, Amalei, Atahu shitzarta la'aba? You're the guy who ate garlic in my father's shir and caused that whole issue? How could you eat garlic in my father's shir? Amar lo tehei kazais b'Yisrael. Said Rabbi Chia, Chalila did I eat shum in the middle of the shir. Rabbi Chia mehecha gomer. And so what? So the Gemara doesn't end off. The Gemara says the same exact thing that we just learned. He didn't want to embarrass the guy who was actually eating shum, and therefore Rabbi Chia got up and he left. Rabbi Chia mehecha gomer. So how did Rabbi Chia know to do that, not to embarrass them? So the Gemara says from Rabbi Meir, Tisanya Maisa B'isha Achas. Because there was a brisa that said a woman shabasala beis medrash shel Meir that came to the beis medrash of Meir. Amr lo Rebbe echad mikem kadshenu bebia. She said to Reb Meir, one of your talmidim was mekadesh me with bia, with relations, which really minat Torah is absolutely not a problem. The first mission in Kedushin tells us ha'isha miskadeshes b'shlosha ha'isha nichnes b'shlosha drachim. Kesef, which is what we do to Bizman Hazeh, shtar with a document, or with bia. Minat Torah, you're able to do that. It's a pasuk in Chumash. The Gemara later on Daf Yud says Rav Mangid Amanda Mekadesh B'Bia. Rav made a takana that he's going to give lashes midrabanan on someone who's going to be Mekadesh B'Bia, even though technically in the Torah it's totally mutter. Why? Says the Gemara Mishum Pritzusa. Because midrabanan they saw that it's not something that's appropriate, so therefore they saw. So this woman came in and said, I'm an Eshes Ish, I'm a married man, a married woman to one of these men, and I can't now get married because I'm married to one of these men, and what? and the person who was married to me got married to me through Bia, and there was Eidim there and everything. So Rebbe Meir said, what is that? If I'm going to figure out who's the Talmud of mine that's going to do it and is going to write the get, so then what? I'm going to embarrass him because he went against Rav's takana of not to be Mekadosh Bia. Listen to what happened. Amad Rebbe Meir, so Rebbe Meir stood up, V'kasav la get krisus, and he wrote her a get. V'nasan la, and he gave it to her. Amdu kisvu kulam v'nasnu la. And all of them got up and followed Rebbe Meir and gave her a get in order to avoid that the one person should be embarrassed. So within the 200 Talmidim, the actual one who was married to her actually wrote the get, and we didn't have to actually embarrass the person in the process. Was it Rebbe Meir before Rav? Rav was a Tanu Polik. Yeah, that could be. That's a good Ahara. He's saying that Rav was the one who enforced it. He gave lashes, but already beforehand. But that's fascinating. It's a great Ha'ara. You see from this Gemara, L'chora, that already the Isser D'Rabbanan existed already preceding Rav.
But that's locked after the limit, because it's either way, it's a bizayon if they had to sing.
Was it a bizayon? I don't know. Before it's Usser?
That he didn't want to give a get.
No. Not that he didn't want to give a get. The issue was over here that someone married me with Bia. Before Rav, unless you say what Adi's saying that, or what you were answering, that it became Usser, so then I don't know why there would have been Bizayon. It's a great Aura. Excellent. Reb Meir Mehecha Gomerla. So how did Reb Meir know it? Mishmuel HaKatan. From Shmuel HaKatan, from the story that we started off with. Shmuel HaKatan Mehecha Gomerla. Mishachni ben Yechiel. Dichsiv Vayan Shachni ben Yechiel mebnei Elam. Vayomer leEzra anachnu ma'alnu beloheinu v'noshav nashim nachrios me'amei haaretz. The people there said, the Shachni ben Yechiel said, that many of us, including himself, married Goyim. And as he was confessing to Ezra of the Isser that many of the people were marrying Goyim, even though he was not involved in the sin, he followed the same thing. Where did Shachni ben Yechiel learn to do this thing, to make himself that he did the Aveira in order not to embarrass someone else? Mi Yoshua. Already back from the Navi Yoshua. Dichsiv, Vayomer Hashem el Yoshua, Kum lech, lama ze ata noifel al ponecha. Why are you falling flat on your face? This was by the sin of Achan. Chati Yisrael, Amr lefanav, Ribono shel olam, mi chatas or Yoshua asked who was the one who sinned. And what is the Ribono shel olam answered? Amr lo v'chidiltor ani. Am I going to be the one who's going to gossip to you and tell you who of Am Yisrael is the one who sinned? V'chidiltor ani lecha, hatil garolos, make a lottery and let the lottery single out who is the one who sinned. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, I'm not going to. So says Shachni ben Yechiel, so that's the source from your Ribono shel olam and Sefer Yoshua, that the Ribono shel olam made it that everyone sin. It says, what does it? Lama ze ata noifel al panecha chati Yisrael. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says all of Am Yisrael was chayte, when really only Achan was chayte. So Yoshua tries to single out who it was, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu says to him, I'm not going to tell you, I'm not a diltor, I'm not a gossiper, I'm not going to embarrass him. Rather, what we're going to stick with, that all of Am Yisrael sins. Rav Moshe has a fascinating tshuva for Mechanchim. It's a fascinating tshuva. It discusses many different things that are relevant, even Bizman Hazeh, even Bizman Bein HaMetzarim. The Shulchan Aruch talks about hitting a Talmud and hitting a son during the Zman of Bein HaMetzarim. Well, whether it's not, it's okay always, but Rav Moshe discusses Bizman Hazeh if it's still something that's okay. But in the middle of the tshuva, Rav Moshe discusses different techniques of Mechanchim in order to keep order in the class. And one of the questions was, what happens when you know someone did something wrong? Right? I'm sure this always happens. And you say, unless I'm going to find out who it is, everyone is punished. That's a classic, I do it in my house. It's a classic move. Find out, yeah, exactly. So Rav Moshe says, a raya from this Gemara that you're not allowed to do, a raya from this Gemara that you're allowed to do that. Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu considered all of Am Yisrael chotim, even though, and he didn't let the one person signal himself out. Yeah.
Hatel lecha gorala.
Oh, excellent. So Rav Moshe says, but you don't have a raya from this Gemara. Because in this Gemara, you always had the option of Goralos. When it comes to the Mechanech, he doesn't have that option of the Goralos, so you can't bring a raya from this Gemara.
Goralos is his second problem, or should I say more fundamental, because who's behind the Goral telling you HaKadosh Baruch Hu?
Right.
It's not a diltor, but I'll tell you through a Goral.
You're right. So that's already...
What kind of teretz is it?
Right? So but the Chavetz Chaim writes like that in Hilchos Lashon Hara as well. The Chavetz Chaim writes from this Gemara. Chavetz Chaim says that if someone's assuming, let's say I assume Adi did something, an avla to me. So now Adi, it's not right, because I'm totally wrong about this. I totally miscalled the facts over here, and really Menashe did it to me, but not Adi, right? So Adi has two options over here. Adi can say, Menashe did it, I didn't do it. Or Adi can say to me, Rabbi, I can't tell you who did it, and I'm not going to tell you who did it, but I didn't do it. Says the Chavetz Chaim, from this Gemara, you see, you're mechuyev to say that I didn't do it, and you can't pin it on someone else. Because if you can remove yourself from the blame without putting Lashon Hara onto another person, said the Chavetz Chaim, that you're mechuyev to do. Says the Chavetz Chaim, lifnim mishur sadin, according to this Gemara, not, again, a chiyuv is to say, I didn't do it. To say someone else would do it as long as you would get not to be punished, and you would now you would allow the person not to have that approach towards you with saying it wasn't me. That you're mechuyev to do. Says the Chavetz Chaim in Shmiras HaLashon, the lifnim mishur sadin would be like who? Like the Rebbeinu Shalom, or like Shmuel HaKatan. Shmuel HaKatan said what? I did it, in order that Menashe shouldn't take the fall. That you're not mechuyev to do. That's lifnim mishur sadin. But what you're mechuyev to do, says the Shmiras HaLashon, is that if, as long as the person would trust you, and you would be able to now remove yourself from that situation by saying it wasn't me, but you're not allowed to say that it was him, if that's not necessary. Yeah.
More appropriate, meaning it's like the concept of counsel, no? Because he goes out of his way to be a dilter. I mean, it's not to a row.
Yeah, no, it's for 100%. That's where that's mamish nogeya to Inyan and Diyam. Yeah. So Rabbi say, this is just a fascinating maisa that happened with me, and it's just, I just think that this is just very unique because it shows. Oh, I'm sorry. Let's just finish the Gemara. And the last mucker is from Moshe Rabbeinu, because what happened in Parshas Beshalach? The Dasan and Aviram went out to get the mon, and what happened? Moshe Rabbeinu says to all of them, Adona me'antem. And even though Rashi explains there were only two people that sinned, Moshe Rabbeinu didn't want to signal them out, and even though they're Rishoim Gemurim. You see, this Gemara is even applying to Rishoim Gemurim, that you're not supposed to be malbin them and embarrass them, and you should now pin the blame on all of Am Yisrael, Adona me'antem, in order not to embarrass these two people. It's scary. But these are this Gemara is quoted in Shmiras HaLashon, Chavetz Chaim. It's straight out of this Gemara. All these psukim about when you're not allowed to say things if it's not necessary.
But there are no consequences. I mean, the consequences for the actions already happened.
What do you mean?
It's not like the case that he said with the teacher who says if the person who
He's gonna punish. He's gonna punish. Achan's gonna get punished. No, Achan's gonna get punished. No, we don't know who. We don't know yet.
So why should that be called? So why should that be?
Right. So that's what Abe was saying is because of the Gorel. Right. So that's what Ramesha says. Right. So that's what Ramesha thinks there's not necessarily a 100% rule.
Also, I mean, another thing doesn't take away from the Musar Lord, but that logically that we learn from often that
Yes, the Gemara says in Sanhedrin in the 6th parak that the mucker of Arvis of Af B'Shechad Yisrael who, and also the mucker of Arvis that we're responsible happens to be from Achan, which by the way the Shmiras HaLashon also quotes. How do you have the ability to say that I was chayte? Adona me'antem. That's sheker. It's not true. Says the Sefer HaChasidim, Shmiras HaLashon, Chavetz Chaim quotes it. It's because of Kol Yisrael Arivin Zelazeh. And if a yid next to you is sinning, then it is chatasi. It is my sin. I'm responsible for him. And once I view myself as connected to him, Shmuel HaKatan could say, I was the one who came Shaloi Kedin. I have a chelik in that sin. That's what really means to be a person that understands Kol Yisrael, Arivim Zelazeh, and Halacha L'maisa. These people were able to say that I sin. And that's what the Shmir Lashon says, the Chafetz Chaim says. That's why they were able to say this Lashon. But Rabbi Isai, I want to tell you the following story. Senator Joe Lieberman came to YU this past year. I wasn't giving shir. It was in the middle of Seder, and I was about to give shir, and the boys were learning very well. And I'm walking into shir, and the boys it's a good sugya. Everyone's very excited. We're about to start, prepared for shir and Seder very well, and we're about to. And I get a message from the Anhala that there is a program that Senator Joe Lieberman just came to speak, and the attendance is very schwach. The attendance is not great. So we like all the shiurim to come and attend the speech. So my initial reaction was, I'm going to give shiur. No way. I'm like, what? But then I started thinking. I said, one second. I said, I don't want to cause a busha. I don't want to cause embarrassment to the speaker. I don't want to cause embarrassment. Whatever, even if whoever's fault it was, whatever, it wasn't advertised well, whatever it is, it's a busha to the yeshiva, but it's a busha to this mechubed, leader, and he's a representative to Am Yisrael. So now I had a suffix. What comes first? Bittul Talmud Torah or Halbonas Panim of Chavero, or a busha. So I went to go talk to Rav Twersky about it, on the spot. I didn't know what to do. So Rav Twersky was, Kedarko Bakodesh was thinking, for a while about the Shaila. So Rav Twersky came to the Svara that, on his own, came to the Svara that he thinks that we should go to the lecture. And we shouldn't embarrass anyone. And that's what we should do. Even though he wasn't 100%, it was definitely clear, a serious suffering in his head, but that's the way he paskin, and that's the way we did, and it was a great speech. It was very interesting, and that's what we did. Afterwards, I realized, I saw the Maharsha on this Gemara, and the Maharsha says that's exactly the background to the story over here. Rabbi Shimon, the son of Rebbe, finds Reb Chia on the street, and he asks him, I cannot believe you. You ate garlic in my father's shir? Ask the Maharsha, do you honestly think that Reb Shimon, the son of Rebbe, thought Reb Chia was the one who took out the garlic in the middle of shir? It's not shayach that Reb Chia. Reb Shimon bar Rebbe was asking, says the Maharsha, I don't understand. I know what you did, but how could you be mevatel Talmud Torah for all these Talmidim? What happened to the Yisr of Talmud Torah? Says Reb Chia, because all they got up and left. Says Reb Chia, because Albonos Ponim is doiche Talmud Torah, bittul Talmud Torah. And it's this story, says the Maharsha, that was the psak, that ultimately what Rav Twersky said, mi'umka deliba, what he thought was actually the story and what happened in the Gemara, that you shouldn't have a person get embarrassed at the expense of Bittul Talmud Torah. Bittul Talmud Torah is nidches, and you should be mevatel Talmud Torah and not embarrass someone else. Yeah.
But one thing for sure, you will never tell us which Rosh Yeshiva didn't go.
Is it the same thing? It's going to be embarrassed? It's lack of kavod. Is that the same thing? Meaning he's going to be embarrassed that there's only 100 people versus 200 people?
It was Halavai. We should have been at 100 people. I can tell you it was a busha. Okay. I once heard.
That's a pretty big chiddush of the Maharsha.
Yeah, pretty big chiddush. Yeah, but it comes up. It comes up with senators. Yeah.
It reminds me of what I heard 2 weeks ago in the Parshas Bala.
Yeah.
So there's a Gemara that says that they killed a donkey.
Yeah.
Why did they kill the donkey? Because they didn't want to embarrass
Right.
Bilam.
Right.
That Bilam.
Right.
People say, oh, that's Bilam, the donkey.
Right.
But what if this Kiddush Hashem? When the other side says, look, Hashem created a donkey.
Right.
But
Even Bilam HaRasha.
Even though Russia, same thing here.
Beautiful.
When it comes to embarrassment,
Beautiful.
you can't- there is no,
Beautiful.
there's no level. Everything has
Beautiful.
to make sure you don't.
Beautiful, beautiful. So I once we were zeicha a few years ago to host a very big Talmud.
The Bar Kamsa story,
What?
to go back full circle,
Yeah.
that makes the Bar Kamsa story a little hard to understand.
That he didn't care,
That the Chacham didn't seem to
Yeah.
stand up.
or very understandable why the Beis Hamikdash was destroyed. Yeah. So there was a Talmud Chacham, a great gadol that we had discussed to host in the shul, Rav Yisrael Meir Druk, and he came to the shul. So I once heard a shmooze from him on this Gemara, and it's really the Maharsha's question, but he asked the following question. Rabbi say the Gemara goes on and just gave us story after story, and what the Gemara, why the Gemara continued to go on to another story and another story and another story? The Gemara want to know Mehecha Gomer. And how did he know that? And how did he know that? What's bothering? Anything bothering anyone intuitively with the Gemara? How did Shmuel HaKatan know? Because he learned it from the story with Reb Meir. And how did Yoshua know? Because he knew it from Moshe Rabbeinu, right? Well, anything bothering anyone? Mehecha Gomer? What do you need a source for? It's a svara. Don't destroy people's reputations. Don't embarrass people. So the Maharsha says, not so fast. Over here, you're actually destroying your own reputation. You're saying that you were chote, not so simple. But on the face of it, it really is a difficult question. Me'echa Gomer. We need so many Mekairis. And where did Shmuel HaKatan learn? And where did he learn from? And where did Reb Chia learn from? And where did Reb Meir learn from? Where did Yoshua learn from? Where did Moshe Rabbeinu learn from? It's question number one. Question number two is such a star kasha that Rav Druk asked that it's like screaming out of the Gemara. At the end of the day, where did Yoshua learn from? From Moshe Rabbeinu. Adon Me'antem.
Okay.
Right? So what's the kasha? Shmuel HaKatan, you know where he learned from? He learned from the Torah. He has a good raya from the Psukim. Why does Shmuel HaKatan have to go to Rabbi Meir? Why does Rabbi Chia have to go to him? There's a pasuk. Everyone should say Yoshua. There's psukim about this. How did he learn? How did they learn? How did they learn? How did they learn? What's going on with this Gemara? Number one, it's a svara. Number two, why does everyone need their own Rebbe? Just open up a chumash and look that this is the details in the Torah. Yeah.
It makes it hit home. It's
Oh, excellent. Said Rav Druk, you see a myriad yesod from this Gemara. The seichel of a person is very, very dangerous. A person could think that something is obvious. A person could think this is what the Rav told me, this is what my Rebbe told me years ago. This says the Gemara, even what's simple, even what's obvious, you have to ask Eitzah. You have to ask not only Eitzah and find out what Moshe Rabbeinu did or what Rav Moshe did back in the door. You have to ask Eitzah from your Rabbanim of your generation. And it has to hit home and have that same impact from your Rebbe in your generation. And even what Shmuel HaKatan could have known from Svara, and even what Shmuel HaKatan could have known historically from Moshe Rabbeinu, he still needs to talk it out with his Rebbe. And that's what you see, something that you could have deduced on your own. It's very dangerous to just totally focus on one's own logic, and therefore he had to re-speak every situation and know exactly what to do and not to depend on one's logic. And this is the mucker that a person has to always ask Eitzah. Yeah.
So, isn't it said that, Al Panat Panim, it's almost like at the level of Yarek
Oh,
B'Yavot,
excellent.
It's like, Yatil Atzmo L'Kivshan
Right.
Hed.
So Adi's quoting the Gemara in Sota. The Gemara in Sota tells us that we learn from Tamar that she didn't want to embarrass Yehuda, that you should even put yourself into Sreifa in order not to embarrass someone. Yeah. So the question really, I was actually wondering that. Why doesn't the Gemara bring that down? Why doesn't the Gemara bring down that she lied and she was actually ready to kill herself in order not to embarrass them? Why didn't all these Gedolim learn from there? And at the end of the day, if the Gemara even quotes a pasuk, I don't know me'antem, so why isn't that one of the psukim? Good kasha. I'm not really sure. Good kasha.
Another way is just
Exactly.
You
Right.
learn from your
Right.
rebbe. Don't say you learn
Right.
from your rebbe.
Right.
If
Right.
it goes back,
Exactly.
there's a Messiah,
Exactly.
but you learn from your
Exactly. Exactly.
Same shot as Rachel and Leah. Same point.
That she didn't want to.
She didn't want to embarrass Leah. So,
Right, but she didn't. But there, meaning in Yehuda and Tamar's case, Tamar actually said she took the fall. Rachel and Leah Rachel just did a chesed in order to make Leah not embarrassed, but she didn't take the fall. That's not. Tamar would have been an exact example of what.
she didn't get married.
That's true. That's true. She did something in order to help someone. But this Gemara is in a further chiddush. The Gemara is saying that you take the fall in order not to embarrass another person.
Very unique scenarios. A person, the same way, a person can think, oh, that's not sock for me because that's never going to happen where there's someone on the road. You know, like that's like it's a very
Right. You're saying eating shum in a shear is something like.
you know there was sin involved. And
Right.
So, you know.
I hear. Okay. Good.
And yet, the seventh that was not Mizuman, in all likelihood, was a Tana.
Right.
So he got
Yeah.
away with it.
Yeah.
And there's no mention made as to who did it. And
No.
That's the point.
No.
You don't want to mention.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah,
Right. Taner Rabbanan. Weiter in the Gemara.
consistent. You know, the Gemara is consistent.
Taner Rabbanan. Mishamesa Nevi'im ha'achronim chagis chari malach nistalka ruach hakodesh. So the Gemara says when the last Nevi'im, the final Nevi'im, died, so then ruach hakodesh was gone from Yisrael. V'afal pichen hayu mishtamshim bebaskol. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu still gave them a baskol. This is where the Gemara introduces us to a lower level of nevuah called a baskol. Taisa says on the top of the daf, baskol. Where does that language baskol come from? They wouldn't hear the exact voice from Shemayim. They heard an echo from the voice coming from Shemayim, and that's the daughter of the kol. It's a baskol. It's not the direct, the actual, the direct thing. It's like an echo. So that's what Taisa says. That's the definition of baskol.
Because if it were Rabbi Yeshua, we would pass kind of luck according to the Baskal.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
They were passing
Even
there.
Nevi'is, the Gemara says loy b'shamayim hi. You're not allowed to paskin based on a navi. Loy b'shamayim hi. So baskol can't be machriel halacha.
But maybe that's because it's a Baskal.
No, I'm saying even a navi, which is direct, you can't paskin based on it.
But they say that they did. They mishtamshim bebaskol.
They-
They did.
They used it as advice, but as terms of psak halacha, you can't be loy b'shamayim hi. Bezdin always wins based on over any divine voice.
Okay.
It has to be Vasco, not the actual sound. Even if it was the actual voice, you couldn't. That would be higher than the Nebuah. So it's a lower.
Right.
That's
Hamachas hayimesum ba'aliyas beis Guria. So one time they were in another attic in Beis Guri, Bericha v'nosam aleim baskel min hashamayim. Yesh kan echad, and the baskel came out and said, Yesh kan echad, sheroi shetishcher lav shchina k'moishe Rabbeinu. That's in parentheses. The Marshal says it can't be k'moishe Rabbeinu. Why can't it be k'moishe Rabbeinu? Why does Marshal take it out? Ain't lo kam kamoso. So therefore the Marshal says this is a mistake. Can't be that it actually said k'moishe Rabbeinu. Ella she'ein dara zakei lekach. But rather what? He's not recognized and he doesn't have Shechina like Moshe Rabbeinu because of the door. You see, Rav Chaim Shmulevitz says, you see that all the Gedolim, they get their Siyata D'Shmaya, they all get their ability to be close with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, all b'schus who? B'schus the door. So if the Rav is not being Matzliach, it's not the Rav's fault. It's because the door is not Zakai. Nasu Chachames Henem Behil Azakin. So the Baskol said, there's a guy here that's mamish like Moshe Rabbeinu, or almost like Moshe Rabbeinu. And all the Chacham said, well, everyone knows who the Baskol is talking about. It's that Tzaddik Hillel HaZaken. Ukshemes Amru Olav, and when he died, they said about him, hey Chassid, hey Anav, Talmid Shmuel Ezra, this Chassid, this Anav, the Talmud of Ezra, Shuv Pamachas Hayu Mesubim Ba'aliyah B'Yavne, they were in another attic, V'Nosnu Aleim Baskol, and there was another divine voice, Men Hashemayim, Yesh Kan Echad Sheroi, Shetishol of Shechina, El She'ein Dar Razak Lekach, there's another person who should get Shechina, but his generation is not worthy, Lekach Natsu Chachamim, Eseneim B'Shmuel HaKatan, that's why this is brought here. And the Gemara says that they were all knew that the Baskol was referring to, it was Shmuel HaKatan, and what they say at his Hesped, Ukshemes Amru Olav, hey Chassid, hey Anav, what an unbelievable Chassid, a humble person, Talmido Shel Hillel, Afu Amar B'Shas Bisaso, Shmuel HaKatan, when he died, Rabbi say, Ein hashkacha pratus gdula mizu. Listen to what Shmuel HaKatan prophesied, this great Shmuel HaKatan, when he died. B'shas misaso, Shimon v'Yishmael lecharba. The two people that we have a kina about, Shimon and Yishmael, that were killed with a cherev, one of the Asara Uruge Malchus. V'chavrohai means all the other Haruge Malchus, liktala. They're going to die in abnormal ways to die. Like Rashi explains, Rabbi Akiva was skinned and all the horrific stories that we're going to talk about on Tisha B'Av. Vishar Amma Lebiza. And the rest of Am Yisrael were left. V'akan Sagin Asidul Lemese Al Alma V'Yehud ben Bava Bikshu Lomer Kain, and they wanted to say these special things about Yehuda ben Bava and give him a hesped, Shenitr V'Shah She'en Maspidim Al Aruge Malchus, but they weren't able to because you're not allowed to give a hesped by someone who is killed by the king. Why are you not, says the Yad Ramah in this Gemara, why are you not allowed to give a hesped by someone who is killed by the king? So the Yad Ramah gives a few different interpretations. Number one, because right now you have the opportunity to bury him. And you never know when the king's going to change his mind. So don't waste any time with the hesped. It's more important that he gets a kfuras Yisrael. Number two, if you start being maspid him, then the king's going to think you're what? You're in cahoots with him. So you're putting yourself in a sakana, so therefore we don't make a hesped. We don't make a hesped for Aruge Malchus. Says the Gemara, Tanu Rabbanan, Ein ma'abnas hashana elim kein yirtze nasi. Not only do you have to be invited by the nasi, says the Gemara, if the nasi does not want it, then the Ibra Hashana does not take effect. And there was a time that Rabbi Gamliel was the nasi, who went to the ruler for whatever reason, Shebesuria v'shal lavo, and it took a while till he came back. The Ibru es Hashana al manashi yirtzu Rabbi Gamliel, ukshebar Rabbi Gamliel v'amarotzani nimtze shana meuberes. And when Rabbi Gamliel came back, and they were ma'aber the shana while he was gone, so then it worked because now they had the haskama of the nasi. So the kasha is why? Why is it relevant? Why is it necessary to have the permission of the nasi?
That's of the political leadership.
Yeah, no, of the religious leadership, the nasi of the bezdin. No, he went to the shilton could be for other reasons.
The halacha of nasi.
Yeah.
Is that, I was saying, is it because he had his political leadership role?
No, I don't think so. I think.
That's not a big question.
Well,
You need the Rosh Bezdin.
why do you need the Rosh Bezdin? So I think this Rabbosai, this Gemara, has to be interpreted in light of last week's shir. This is going to be now depend on a machlekes, the Rambam and the Ramban. We discussed last week. The Rambam says that when it comes to Ibra Hashana, you need the Bezdin Hagadol. Those 7 guys can't just be any 7 guys. They have to be the Bezdin Hagadol. And we explained, because the Ramban had murderous kashas against the Rambam from Abaye and Rava, and from situations where you didn't have the Bezdin Hagadol, and you didn't exist at the Lishkas Hagazis, and it was after the Churban. How could you hold that they had Ibra Hashana in all those days? So Soloveitchik explained beautifully that it was the leader of Am Yisrael. It was the people, the dignitaries that represented Am Yisrael, and that's the way that it's done even Bizman Hazeh, the Miuchadim in Eretz Yisrael, that are Makadish as HaChodesh, they have the ability to do that, and that's the way it works Bizman Hazeh. So Rabbi say, in light of Shitas HaRambam, the Gemara makes a lot of sense. When there's a Nasi around, the Nasi is the one who represents all of Am Yisrael. This Gemara reads beautifully according to the Rambam. Even if you have people on the Bezdin Hagadol, says the Rambam, and the other 7 guys were qualified guys, if you don't have the leader, the Spitz leader of Am Yisrael, the Nasi, when he's around, so then the Ibra Hashana Midaraisa Minat Torah can't take effect. That's the way the Rambam is going to read this Gemara. The Ramban that understood that it's not true. The Ramban that understood that that there is no halacha of Bezdin Hagadol. Any dayanim Minat Torah are really allowed to be Ma'aber Hashana. There's no din of Eretz Yisrael. There's no din of Lishkas Hagazis of the Mokom HaMikdash. There's no Abaye and Rava, says the Ramban. After the Churban, says the Ramban. Therefore, the Ramban says the Rambam's wrong. So how's he going to read this Gemara? This Gemara is l'chora a raya to the Rambam. So the answer is the Ramban in his what we read last week. He answered this. He said, and the only reason the Nasi was involved was midrabanan They made a takana that when the Nasi is around, they took the authority out of any other Bezdin, and they now what? They said that the Nasi should be the one involved. But whereas according to the Rambam, this Gemara is what Ibra Ashana means. The Nasi is the one who represents the Ratzon of Am Yisrael. That's what we explained last week. That's how the Rambam gets out of all the Ramban's kasha, and now we understand why it has to be under the auspices of the Nasi. And we also understand, by the way, what Rashi said, that the hazmana, the invitations, have to be from who? From Rabbi Gamliel, from the Nasi, because it's all under his authority. He is the one that's representing the will of the people, the Ratzon Ha'am. He's the Netziga Ha'am. He's the representative of the Am. Whereas according to the Ramban, you have to explain this Gemara. This is a Takanam D'Rabbanan. This was only relevant when there was a Nasi. This is something temporarily that they made it Takanam D'Rabbanan as covered on Nasi, that he should be the one that should be involved. But it's not necessarily representing what Ibra Ashana represents. And in theory, the Ramban argues this Gemara is not necessarily correct. And B'di'evet, they could have done it without the authority of the Nasi. Yeah.
It looks like it reads in such a way that they've done it without him. Meaning
Yeah.
he was not there.
They did it al menas, and
So
then...
they prepared. So when he said it,
So they were ma'aber the shana. They were ma'aber, so they shed me'uberes, and they did it. They did it.
Okay.
Then Rabbi Gamliel got back, and they notified him, and he was okay.
And it said Rotzeh.
So then the Gemara says,
he
it
still proved it?
now was Megala, it was now revealed that because he was okay with it, that the shana is
If he was
mu'uberes.
not, then
And if he was not, it would not be good. It would not be Ibra Shana. Exactly, that's what Gemara says. But Rabbi Isai, this should be totally on an issue called Breira. Anytime I create a status, I create a halachic entity, and I now say I want to marry, I don't know, I want to divorce one of the women in this room, and I read a whole get, and it's only revealed which woman I meant only afterwards. The Gemara says that's a problem of Breira. You can't retroactively explain things and clarify things when at the time that I created the halachic entity or the halachic chalos, the facts were not clear. That's a problem of Breira. So Rabbi Kiva Eger quotes this issue. Rabbi Kiva Eger says, why is this able to be chal? The Ibra Shana, we didn't know if the Nasi was okay with it. So at the time of the Ibra Shana, it shouldn't have been chal. It shouldn't have been Uber. We should have had to wait and suspend it until Rabbi Gamliel got back. So that's a question that I want everyone to think about. But
So,
yeah,
the way you understand this Gemara is that it was chal
yeah,
before,
that's what the Gemara says.
he was maskim, he just
I don't think it's the same.
undo it.
So
I don't think it's chal.
So I think what Dr. Bacon's saying is the answer. It might mean this is what some of the Mefarshim explain, that I think Rabbi Kiva Eger answers like this, that no, we misunderstood. It's not that you need the Nasi's permission. It's just that the Nasi can't be against it. So therefore, I could make Ibra Shana right now, and the facts are clear, and everyone knows what's going to happen. It's conditional that the Nasi doesn't go against it. It's not that I need the will of the Nasi, because if I needed the will of the Nasi, then at the time that I created the Ibra Shana, when I created the Chalos, then the facts weren't clear. Then it wasn't. Then that's Breira. That's retroactively taking something that we had no idea about that we're trying to be Chal. However, what if you would set up the following? I want to create a Chalos, but now, and the Chalos is totally done, but it's just on condition that he's not going to be against it. So argues Rabbi Kiva Eger, if you don't actively need his haskama and you don't need his agreement, it's built in that he can't be against it. So he thinks that would solve the issue of Breira. Before we dive Marabosai, I want to just quote one Gemara, a famous Gemara. There's a famous story between Rabbi Yeshua and Rabbi Gamliel in the Gemara in Brachos and the Gemara in Rosh Hashanah. Rabbi Gamliel and Rabbi Yeshua had a machlekes when Yom Kippur was in a certain year. And everyone knows the Gemara says that Rabbi Gamliel was arguing with Rabbi Yeshua, and even though Rabbi Yeshua disagreed when Yom Kippur was, he made Rabbi Yeshua come with his stick and his wallet to the Beis Din on the day that he thought it was Yom Kippur. Says Reb Chaim, how was Rabbi Yeshua allowed to do that? Rabbi Yeshua himself thought that Yom Kippur was a day before. So Reb Chaim Brisker explains it's exactly based on this Gemara. The Ibra Shana, the Kiddush HaChodesh is all totally on the Nasi. Rabbi Gamliel at that point in time was the Nasi. So therefore Rabbi Yeshua himself knew that as long as the Nasi calls it, whatever the Nasi says is what's going to be permitted. And as long as he's the active Nasi right now, so that's the person I'm going to follow. And that's why I'm allowed to walk with my wallet, even though my calculations say it's really on a different day. So we'll daven Marav.
So that's